You sit down at your desk, but your focus is already fractured. Your phone buzzes, you remember an unread email, and your mind cycles through a dozen separate anxieties while your work sits untouched. Then there are the rare moments where the noise shuts up. Time seems to stop. Your hands move entirely on their own, and every action you take feels perfectly executed. Jujutsu Kaisen calls this state the zone. When a sorcerer lands a black flash, they enter a mental space where they operate at 120% of their absolute potential. This data table projected behind psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi illustrates that this isn't just an anime trope. He spent his career studying this exact phenomenon, which researchers call the flow state. Crossing into that 120% potential is a hardwired biological threshold. It occurs the moment the brain clears away the conscious barriers that usually interrupt our performance. Flow is a state of hyperfocus. You become so immersed in a single task that your awareness of time, physical stress, and even your own ego begins to vanish. This graph shows the flow channel, sitting diagonally between boredom and anxiety. Flow happens when a task's challenge matches your skill exactly. But the second we start overthinking, we fall out of this channel, spiking directly into the anxiety zone. Aoi Todo gives Yuji the solution to this during their fight with Hanami. He tells Yuji to stop treating his energy as a separate tool and to merge his mind, body, and soul into one fluid motion. True focus requires you to stop talking to yourself in your head. You have to stare directly at the task until that inner monologue finally dies. Reaching the deepest levels of the zone requires more than just silence. It requires a state of total psychological detachment. Neuroscientists call this transient hypofrontality. This is a temporary state where the brain's higher-order processing centers slow down, leading to what is often described as ego death. This animation shows the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that creates your sense of self and your fear of failure, as it slowly powers down. This allows the deeper motor and focus centers to take complete control. This is Yuji Itadori's cog mentality in action. By viewing himself as a simple part of a machine, he abandons his ego and his desire to be a hero, which unlocks his most terrifying level of focus. Your ego is a source of friction. The exact second you stop caring about the outcome or how you look while doing it, the flow state sparks. This state of mind doesn't have to be a random occurrence. You can manufacture it on command by controlling your environment and your biological triggers. First, you need a high-stakes trigger. Focus follows consequences. You can force your attention by creating immediate stakes, like a brutal countdown timer that demands your total commitment to the present moment. Next up, you need an anchor ritual. This is a physical cue, like a specific breathing exercise or a dedicated playlist that you perform before you work. Eventually, your brain will respond to these cues by automatically narrowing its focus. Finally, you use the escalation. Flow is a momentum game. You start with an initial small win, a simple, frictionless task to trigger the dopamine that makes the next hour of focus much easier to maintain. Hitting your peak isn't a sudden jump. It's a calculated buildup where one small, successful action snowballs into a state of total immersion. That 120% potential is a hardwired capability within the human brain. It isn't just reserved for anime characters, but it demands a cost. It requires you to cut out the cheap dopamine, abandon your ego, and stop overthinking your own mechanics. You have to kill your distractions, become the machine, and force your own black flash into existence right here and now.